They want to put traps around on town property.
Hmm,
So tell them they could.
yeah. That one for lantern flies too, and the whatever other
They
terrible
want to
things.
put traps around on town
destroying them.
property.
Hmm,
So tell them they could.
yeah.
Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
That one for lantern flies too,
Lantern fly.
and the whatever other.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God, that's so bad for the vineyards. Huge. Ay, ay, ay.
Sales tax revenue was up on fourth quarter.
What is this?
Sales tax revenue.
Oh, up. Okay.
Yep.
That,
That's
I
good.
know I did my share. It's-
Yeah.
Well, that's good news.
Mhm.
Yes.
It was cold in Florida? Really?
Nothing like here, I'm not whining.
One morning it was
You go
37.
to Florida.
Were you in Florida too? Where were you?
Newport Richie, Gulf side,
Oh,
near Tampa.
very nice. That's where Janet was, I think, over that way.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Beach, the-
It was chilly, but you had a nice time. It was brutal here. It was absolutely brutal.
I kept on looking.
When you.
Oh,
I was
my
glad I
God.
was there.
Oh, my God. The ice and the
Oh.
constant snow, and it was just brutal.
We took off Sunday. And it was a pain getting there. And then the plane took, well, got on the plane late,
How come I
time to
can't
go.
see?
We have to de-ice. We have two de-icing trucks, but they're both empty, so they have to go fill up. And then.
Terrible things.
Put traps around on town property.
Hmm,
Tell them they could.
yeah.
So we take off late.
Did you have a connecting flight?
No.
Oh, is that at least?
Well, we took off late and then we got about 15 minutes into it. It's like, yeah, we lost oil pressure in one of the engines, so we're gonna turn around.
Oh my God. Ah, that's unnerving.
If you hang around the airport, there's a flight coming in about 10:30, we can load you up and take you down to camp. Okay,
You're going to.
so flight comes in, sheriffs show up, and then they announce, yeah, the plane
That's so
can't
cool.
go.
So thanks
So
for
all you
thinking
people
about
can
it.
go home.
No,
And there were 100 people, like, little kids, everything was shut down, restaurants, there's games for kids to play and everything all shut
on
down.
Sunday? Why? What was?
They shut down the airport at 9 o'clock.
Really?
So we were trying to get food because we hadn't eaten. We were supposed to leave at 4.
My
So we're trying to get food and the guards say, well, maybe you can get somebody to deliver, but at 9 o'clock, this was about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Nobody can come in. And as it turns
Well,
out,
I didn't hear about this.
nobody will deliver to the airport.
Not even Grubhub?
Hmm?
When,
Grubhub or DoorDash?
No,
so,
it's a desert. That's what it's.
so, what did you do?
They have a vending machine.
No, I meant like
Oh.
about leaving.
We flew out noon the next day.
Wow. Holy moly. What is going on?
That's all right. We made it back. Went up when the engine failed. We're coming in and it was all emergency equipment. Except for us.
Hold on, grip on, say prayers. Everybody praying silently.
Well, then I said,
Or out
"Well,
loud.
you can stay on the plane because we might be able to fix it."
Somebody's gonna go out.
I don't know about that. Yeah,
Anybody got a screwdriver with them?
go out and bang it with a hammer. I think that'll fix
Yeah.
it.
tap, tap.
Why isn't Rooster up there? He'll set his paws.
Oh, all right, okay.
It's an illusion.
He's a vampire.
I was about to say, you don't want
A
to.
vampire.
Ghost upstairs, but. That's just weird.
Bippity boppity boo.
The one thing I did learn is that Medicare is a wonderful thing. Before I turned 65, I doing PT for a torn rotator cuff. And my insurance only limits 30 visits a year. The minute I turned 65 and went on Medicare, it's unlimited. It's like, okay, I'm good with that. Good with that. Well, pardon? Town state employee, good pension system.
Hello, how are
Yeah,
you?
how's it going? Hello, how are you?
Good.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I heard that.
But it was pretty funny. We were looking at each other. We're like, where's?
Yep. The average age is probably about 60. Because we have what, 1, 2, 3 kids under the age of 50. Yeah, it's probably 60.
Not for long.
Hey, rest, you feel a little older, I'm almost there. Yeah.
Almost.
So make us feel a little bit.
I like how people, what you have to sit on when you're at breakfast or lunch at one house with a child. It's phone book. That's back in the day when there were phone books.
Yeah, exactly. No, we didn't have.
I do remember that. I remember distinctly sitting
The
and
phone book.
and
And they were.
stop squirming because
That's right.
And they were. Yeah, you could stack them. Yeah, they were allowed. And if you sat still, we were good. And your father's belt, you candy. And we had our dad's belt wrapped around so that we wouldn't tickle her.
Did you find out? The assessor's office? I see
No,
Lee here and I just,
can't extend it.
we can't do it.
It's New York State. They said. Amy said we can.
Oh.
He looked into it.
I just saw Lee here. It reminded me.
Mhm. The school district has done it, but the committee has not.
Oh.
Changed the value of it. For the exemption,
But we can't do it as a town, you said.
not before March 1st.
Oh.
Good evening,
Yeah.
welcome to the February 20.
Before to Atlanta twice too.
2025.
And whatever other.
Please join us for
Oh,
the pledge of
my
allegiance.
God. That's so bad for the vineyards.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Ay, ay, ay.
Stop.
Sales tax revenue was up on the quarter.
What's this?
Sales tax revenue.
Oh. Up, okay.
Or-
I don't think you're recording.
Yeah, we're not.
Sorry, Dan.
No.
Start a new meeting,
I'm sorry.
even though you were in pause, it was still recording.
Okay.
Good evening. To the town board meeting, February 26, 2025. Welcome to the town board meeting. Should I redo the pledge of allegiance? Okay. Annette, would you please take the roll?
Councilperson Ties,
Here.
Councilperson Chase,
Here.
Supervisor Williver,
Here.
Councilperson Morelli,
Here.
Councilperson Brown,
Here.
Announcements, the gun range is looking to open, but because of the weather, they're gonna be on a limited basis for March 7th, March 10th, and March 27th, they'll be open 8 to 4. And I got word from the county, sales tax revenue was up. We received 160,000 for the last quarter, which was the year before was 143,000. So price are our revenues up for that. Public comment period. Anyone have a comment? 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. 2353 Pinnacle Road, Catherine Hankins. So I have just a few things. The first is it wasn't on the agenda tonight for the exemption for limited income seniors or for disability. I don't know what your position is on it, but I did take the sheets from our most recent assessment to give to you to highlight that it would probably impact 41 seniors in town and 4 people with disabilities that would improve their opportunity to stay here in age in place. So I'll give you these. It's just it passed in 2022. And I brought it up then. Our former assessor brought it up. It's just time to get it done because it really could be a real change for people and give them the income so that they could stay here. So please get that done and make it retroactive. The second is in the last newsletter. Supervisor Dan said mistakenly reported that the proposed dollar store would be on a 10-acre lot. It's a 4.1 acre, very big difference. And this mistake is causing considerable confusion to residents who do not know anything about this proposed development. Well, I guess it's been, so I did, I stopped and thought, well, what do I know? But I went to the zoning board of appeals last week because I was sort of surprised that there were, it was listed as a bunch of variances, a series of variances. Well, I've never seen that before. It's usually spelled out. Councilman Brown was there, so I did speak out, but it was not a public hearing. There was no information beforehand. There was no notification of what those variances were. And then I really was surprised to see what is really in the code for the mixed use hamlet. I saw that it was modeled after the one in Penfield, but it doesn't have the safeguards that the Penfield code has. It doesn't have that. And it has some very ambiguous language and some very confusing language and gives too much power to the planning board to make decisions. It should be revisited. you know, I could highlight things that really are problems. But the planning board should stand alone, and the zoning board should be the one to take any variance and look at it from whether it belongs in our code. It's very problematic. But I said then, and I'll say it again, that it appears from the surface, from my review, that it was backdoored in for this project, 10,000 square feet. Doesn't fit into our comprehensive plan. It's too big, the space is too small, and it doesn't fit in. And that comes back to the town board. It doesn't fit. And it looks like the zoning ordinance was passed with an intention to help an applicant. Maybe not, maybe not, but the code doesn't work for this hamlet. And the most important thing was that when I went through all the minutes, you know, I have a history that I can give to the board. I found that on May 7th, 2024, they had a workshop, and at the end of it, the commitment from this town board was that it would go out and connect with all of the people in our hamlet and ask them what they wanted. It said, I can specifically say what it said, but it was a really a very good statement, but it didn't, I can't see that it ever happened. And it said, it would communicate to those residents affected by this code change. Now, again, I don't see any results of survey. I don't see any community meeting that involved our hamlet. So please revisit it. The third thing, I was so surprised at this hearing last week. I just think, how could we do this? But this is one of the oldest areas of our town, and the land maps clearly show that this is a stream going through it. You can certainly appreciate it because it goes right through, and this is where our flooding comes from. And it goes right, borders all the properties on Nelson Parkway. If we're thinking we're going to make money, this is my last point because I know I'm going to run out of 3 minutes. But economic development in a small town doesn't always bring in the tax dollars that you think it's going to bring in. So I did my homework. I'm not against any development that belongs right, you know, in the right place. I really want it. And I'm not got other issues with certain kinds of stores, but the Dollar Tree in Henrietta is on 4.51 acres, almost the same, 4.1 acres, 4.5. But the dimensions of it are so different. And the tax rate, if I use the tax rate for our town right now, it would have only brought in $5,932 and $2,271 for the fire department. We don't work for the county and for the school district. We have to look at, say, what would the impact be on our town? What would the additional cost be for our town? We have a volunteer fire department. So when you're looking at economic development, we don't have to build stuff for the county and the school district. And the third point, I was so surprised that so many people think that the sales tax is something that we have control over. We don't get the sales tax of sales tax in our own town. It all goes into the county and then it's divvied up. So some people think, well, we're going to get sales tax from these properties that we're getting into town. Doesn't work that way. So we've got to be more patient in doing these kind of codes. This hamlet is too fragile. The goal that was stated in the board minutes was that the goal of the mixed use development was to finally recognize what had already happened to the hamlet. All of the changes that had been happening for the last 20 years. It was not an initiative to create a pathway for outsiders to come in and start to repurpose parcels of land that should be on a master plan of saying, don't touch it. We have to have an environmental overlay. So, you know, I'm sorry if you spent a lot of time doing it. I saw that there were meeting after meeting after meeting, but there's a fundamental problem in terms of allowing us to, again, backdoor a property and try to force fit it into a little tiny development next to one of our cemeteries. To me, it would compromise one of our longest standing the commercial operations, the Chase florist shop, and it will challenge our ability to manage that intersection for years to come. You know, there's other places in town where it could fit, West Henrietta, High Tech Park, there's other places. And the other thing is, I found that across this country, there's many, many dollar stores that are only 5,000 square feet. Many, and they fit into malls or whatever, wherever. So we do not have to be beholden to whoever knocks on our door. We don't have to answer every door that everybody that comes to us. We don't need to be beggars for economic development. We have to be wise stewards for our town, because we're a rural, residential, suburban town. Our tax dollars are coming from very valuable properties. Our biggest challenge is what if we have a fire, who's going to put it out? That's our biggest challenge going forward. So please try to stop and revisit that zoning ordinance. And anything I can do to help, I will be more than glad to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Marianne Rizzo, Stoll Road. So I have two things I want to talk about tonight. One is the Dollar General. And I asked myself, I like to ask you, how did we get this far so fast? I mean, it did take a while, but I think the 10,000 square foot limit in the new code, I appreciate all the work the committee did, but it's just way too big for the hamlet. And I've said this before. So the Catholic Church is 5,700 square foot. So imagine almost 2 times the size of the Catholic Church in the footprint for the Dollar General. And the town hall footprint, I did a little informal measuring today, and I came up with about 11,000 square feet. I'd like to know if you know any differently. So this is going to have a similar size footprint as the town hall, a little smaller. And so then, I also went to the zoning board and I found out that I wasn't sure going in there what were the requests for the variances. So one of them was going from 10,000 square feet to 10,640. And it's already too big. And I know it's not up to you at this point. I think you've already weighed in with the change to 10,000. But I hope that anything you can do this, bringing it forward to 10,640, it's too big on 4.1 acres. They want to have less bays. They're supposed to have 3 or 4 bays for the 18-wheeler trucks to come in and deliver I think they're supposed to have at least 3. Derek, maybe you can help me with that. But now they want to have 1 or 2 bays, and there's no like ingress and then coming out another way. Ingress egress, they got to come in, they got to turn their trucks around, which means they're going to be facing Nelson Parkway. And when they're backing up and the noise and everything, and then they're going to back into their bays. And they've got the lights, and they're going to have less trees, and we've got the wetlands and everything. And I was actually I thought of Nelson Parkway, but then they came to the meeting. There was 2 families there, and they spoke for a 3rd family. And they said, this is going to change our properties. We already have flooding, and now there's probably be more runoff. And, we have flooding in the spring and different times of year. And then they want to, the one sign they want to increase a little bit, another sign they want to triple the size. And does some of that come with lighting? And so there's just so much there that it's not going to work. I think it's going to decrease the property value for Nelson Parkway. I don't know about Pleasant Road, or is it called Pleasant Street? I'm not sure. But I think it's going to decrease the value of the hamlet as well. So if there's anything you can do to bring this to so that the zoning board doesn't approve the variances, I would appreciate it. Second issue. Golden Road. So we have a beautiful property on Golden Road, 8.3 acres, town-owned property. And Dan Williver and Dan Chase, we talked about it part of the comprehensive plan. You were members of the committee. The board approved the plan. It's forested land. It's exactly where the creek meets the river. Please don't sell this property. It's town-owned land. It belongs to the town. And it provides a riparian buffer to the creek. It provides a riparian buffer to the river. Okay, a riparian buffer is, I'll read this, vegetation that is adjacent to bodies of waters, rivers, streams. And the function is to protect the water quality. People DEC is giving grants to forest land, especially near river bodies. It stabilizes the soil and it prevents erosion. It's storm management. It helps with storm management and flood mitigation. I know that we have these potential problems. So, and localities often prohibit building on riparians. So please, we're gonna make what, $40,000? I just don't even like the thought of turning this into a value. And that money's going to be gone within whatever, a very short time, but we're going to lose this forested land. And probably National Grid, if they were to buy this land, you know, I know Dan said to me, oh, they're just going to use a little bit of it. Well, they've already increased their substation. I don't know if you've noticed it. I go all around town all the time, but they're probably gonna, you know, once it's sold, it's in their hands, and it's gonna become a lot of concrete over there. It's going to be, you know, it's no longer gonna be the kind of riparian buffer that it is. And can we access it? So that's another thing. Well, I used to think this town-owned land was across the railroad track. You had to get it only by going across the railroad. I mean, you can walk on the railroad track and then go over. But then I realized through working on the comprehensive plan with LaBella Associates, they showed us the map. I said, are you sure this particular slice, this is accessible? People fish there. You just have to cross the railroad and there you are. You don't have to go all in the railroad to get to it. So it's a valuable piece of land. And I ask that you have a vision, even a small vision. And I want you to see it as beautiful. I want you to envision it as beautiful. I want you to envision it as a value to our town and a value for our health of the community and of the river and the creek. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Approval of the minutes.
I know they were only published today. I don't know if people had a chance to look at them.
I got through them.
I'm sorry?
They seemed okay. I think I read.
I read through 'em.
I didn't see anything.
Okay, so then we can,
Briefly.
okay,
It's
so
okay.
I guess we can,
I so move to approve town board minutes of Monday, February 12th, 2025, as submitted by town clerk Hargrave. Was it on a Monday? Is that right? I don't think it was on a Monday, was it?
It was Wednesday.
Yeah,
It was Wednesday.
Wednesday, February 12th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilperson Brown?
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli?
I,
Supervisor Williver?
Aye.
Councilperson Chase?
Aye.
Councilperson Kies?
Aye.
Approval of the abstract, Luther.
Okay, before I get to that, I gotta make a statement there that I have, I went through and reviewed the abstract, no problem with any of it.
Okay,
I just noticed I dated it wrong. So I don't know if that's a problem. I can go back and change it after the meeting, but as of now, they're dated as the 28th.
okay.
So I don't know how practical we get here, but I can improve. I did go through them all and they checked out fine. I dated it wrong, so,
I signed them all yesterday, so they're okay.
all right.
You checked them and you didn't have any problem.
All right, well, I just wanna make sure we got.
I think the date will be okay.
Okay. Have a move, reviewed all the vouchers on abstract 2-2 of February 26, 2025. I authorize payment totaling $89,799.34, which includes Fund AA General for $37,603.73. DA Highway Town Ride for $44,520.91. HH Fund Capital Projects for $1,761.98. and LL Library for $5,912.72. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Councilperson Kies,
Aye.
Report of officers. Start with Deputy Supervisor Chase.
Yeah, so last night on the 25th, I attended the planning board meeting. We had, there was one subdivision that the planning board had kind of an informal review on. There's a couple issues on it. The planning board worked with the applicant to try and come up with maybe not necessarily solutions, but maybe a way to move forward where they can maybe approach the zoning board and see if there's anything that they can do. The other one was a lot line adjustment. There was just some miswording in that application, so we tabled that one. Other than that, it was just pretty straightforward planning board meeting, so.
Very good. Councilperson Morelli.
Thank you. So last Tuesday, I attended the fire commissioners meeting. And they're doing a really good job paying attention to all the equipment and what they have to do. They're very on top of that. One thing they did mention is kind of come up tonight in the comments, is that they are very concerned about attracting volunteers for our volunteer fire department. And, you know, we may have to, or they may have to look at hiring somebody at some point if we can't get volunteers for our volunteer fire department. It's serious right now. And not having enough people being able to show up when you get a call. So that was alarming to me. With regard to the town financials, and I don't know if you have an answer yet, but I've asked twice. You know what I'm gonna ask? And I appreciate getting reports 2 months in a row. But that also gives me a chance to look and see what's going on. And for the December 31 report, which, you know, has the whole year's worth of financials in there. And it's really a tool. You get the report and there's a variance column. So things in that column, you should look at that first. This is how I approach it when I look at financial statements. And anything that looks out of whack, you should look at it. So what jumped out at me is that we hadn't collected the rent on the cell towers. And if we did, it was posted incorrectly. So everybody should look at that and say, did we get it? If not, what are we doing? And so I asked the question then. I didn't get a response. Get the next statement, January. Same thing, nothing in there, nothing in that line item. So it didn't come in late. If it did, it's posted wrong. And I asked again. Are they paying us? If not, what are we doing?
I'll check into it tomorrow. Janice will be here.
I appreciate it. We all should want to know about
Yeah.
that. You know, we may need to stick Kevin on them. And get paid. And I just want to, it's not really a report, but in response to some of the comments here tonight, which I really appreciated, I thought they were really well thought out. And I don't want to steal your thunder, Derek, you know, because I know you were at that ZBA meeting and I listened to it. I watched the YouTube video. I spent the time because I was curious, like many people are, about the Dollar General store here in town, potential. And I just want to say that the mixed-use hamlet zoning was something that we worked on very hard to make it better in the town here. And it was worked on well in advance of Dollar General coming in, so there was no backdoor trying to make it fit Dollar General. A lot of those things were already discussed before Dollar General showed up and when it came on an informal basis to the planning board. So that 10,000 square foot number for maximum building was already something that was being discussed without any input from Dollar General. So I just wanted to assure you that there was no backdoor trying to fit that in. We're not trying. No one went to Dollar General and said, to my knowledge, come to this town. Everybody, I think I could speak for the board, would love to have that corner developed. Number one thing, we all want it. But it's privately owned. We can't make the owner do anything, honestly. We'd love it to be developed. I would, everybody would.
Mhm.
And so it was disappointing that something is being developed right up the road from there and not that corner. It's like, wow, why? And people think it's the town making that happen. Well, no, this is what came to the town.
Final search. No discussion.
I think the 10,000 feet carried over from the old commercial code that was.
It could have been. So there was like, we had this, we didn't make it to fit anything.
That was consistent to what that was zoned prior to making it mixed use happen.
And I don't think they actually haven't put a formal anything in yet. They just want to see what signs is, I understand that.
Well, go ahead.
They don't actually own the property yet, from my understanding, is that they are going through the permitting process first to make sure everything will work. And then they make the decision whether to move forward. So everything's preliminary at this point.
That's my understanding as well, that they came 3 times on an informal basis to the planning board. But some of the things that they were proposing do not fit in with our town code. So I think the planning board told them right off the bat that, well, we couldn't, based on those numbers, and we couldn't approve anything like that. Those require variances. So that's how they got to the ZBA. And for whatever it's worth, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but, and I know there's a separation of authority and I respect that. The town board not interfering with the decision-making of the planning board and the zoning board. Myself, as a citizen of the town of Rush, would prefer that they not grant any variances. I mean, they're coming to us, just build it to fit, make it fit our current zone if you want to move there, if you want to do it here, and as far as all the flooding and stuff, there's so much else gets decided and looked at by the planning board, which have not seen any site plans at all. So all the concerns about the water, I think, will all go to the planning board. Am I right? They'll all,
Correct.
so that's not the ZBA sphere. But I appreciate the comments and the concern. It's real. And whatever they do, they're gonna do, but we have to trust that they're gonna do the right thing. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Luther,
Oh, I think
go ahead, Derek.
Well, as everybody knows, at this point, I was at the zoning board meeting last week. They do have a tall task in front of them. As Mary Ann pointed out, they're looking for 684 square feet above the 10,000 square foot allowance. So to that point, and I know, some of the concern is runoff from the parking lot, but one of the variances they're looking for is a smaller parking lot than what would be required if they went with a 10,000 square feet building. It would, I forgot exactly the
I
numbers.
think it's like 62 or something's required.
Yeah. It wasn't quite 50% variance on that portion of it, but it was right around there.
Yeah.
And then it also, as Mary Ann had stated, the loading docks, 4 would be a requirement, and they're looking for 2. And then the signage, the one sign out by the road, there were some suggestions about what they could do differently, rather than it be a pedestal style sign, do more of a monument style. So they took that information, and then this, because the variance for the sign on the building was pretty significant. So they're taking that back as well. Other than that, like I said, they got their work cut out for them on this one. They're gonna have to do what's best for everybody, so.
Very good.
Thank you.
Luther,
I tried to log into the zoning board meeting, but I had no luck getting in on Zoom, so wasn't able to watch it, but I did get comments back and so forth. We talked about Conservation Board. They talked about the dollar market coming in, and they came up with suggestions of the lower sign versus a higher sign.
And Lee did read the letter that the Conservation Board had written.
So they sent some information back on that. They were also against, and I think they sent us a letter, if I remember right, against selling the property over on Gola Road. I think they sent a letter out to the town board here. Against selling it. I also met with a solar group, and we went over some of the changes and comments that we had come up with, and that Scott and John had, and went through them. And they're gonna be attending the Gold Committee, and just as an advisor to see, I think we're very close to everybody on the same page. It's just making sure we're crossing our I's and T's with everybody. We're all good. And I think everybody's done a lot of work on that.
Sure.
Relatively happy, I guess you want to put it that way. So that's all I got.
okay. Annette, do you have a report?
So town clerk's office is busy still collecting second payments on the taxes. People can come in and pay with cash or credit. I mean, with cash or check. We do not take credit. You can pay on Monroe County website with a credit card if you want to pay by credit card. We are also taking in lots of dog renewals, and want to remind people to get their dogs rabies shots and everything up to date. And that's about it.
Thank you. Kevin?
I attended the Association of Towns meeting last week. Some good programs, nothing particularly pertinent or that I think would be informative for this board. There was a fair amount of discussion about the board's use of social media and potential ramifications for that. So just, obviously it certainly I have nothing I have a concern about this board. I've got other boards that there'll be some discussions about. Make sure that when you're out there, even though you may be in your personal capacity, you still are a town basically a spokesperson. So just be careful and conscious of what you say. But outside of that, there were some good programs, but nothing overly pertinent, I think, to this area.
All right, thank you. I attended the Industry Residential Advisory Board meeting. They currently have 103 students over there. Kids are different programs, training, trying to be good kids. It's a difficult job over there. I received a correspondence from the USDA about European cherry fruit flies. They'd like to set traps around town properties to see if they've moved this way yet. I was going to let them set up traps at White Springs Farm, 100 acres, at the town hall, the highway garage, and Stony Brook Park. Seemed like the most. And I asked them to notify me each time the trap service was performed. So.
Sounds like it would be a good way for them to gather information.
Yeah, we've done it before for different things. I forgot, DJ, do you have anything?
Well, for the past 3 days, we haven't spread any salt, so that's the highlight of the winter for the highway department.
Do you have any left?
We do have about 3/4 of a barn full. Actually, we have only purchased up 50%. Every year I budget for 2,000 ton of salt to be purchased. Thus far, we have only purchased 1,000 ton. So, we're being very mindful and conservative, I guess, if you will, about the amount of salt that we do use. And we've still got about 1,100 ton left in the barn, so we should be good for the rest of this winter. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna start putting conduit in the ground and building the pedestal for the clock
Beautiful.
to put the meter up and the panel box to power that. Mr. Watson is going to be assisting us in that first thing tomorrow morning, so.
Very good. Thank you.
Will that be permanent power for the
Yeah.
clock?
Yes.
Metered even.
Weird. Moving on to old business. Resolution authorizing the supervisor's approval of the annual Monroe County and Bloom agreement. We get flowers for the Monroe County and Blooms up at the park and ride up on 15 and 251. Ann McMicken and Jack Mold generally take care of planting and tending to that garden up there.
I'll make the motion to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement for Monroe County and Bloom dated February 11th, 2025, between Monroe County Department of Transportation and the town of Raj. Second.
I'll second. the motion.
Councilperson Kais,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Next, I was approached by Hartford Resources. They want to place farmland in the north or in the southern part of Rush into a land trust. And they'd like a letter of approval from the town supervisor, so I need a resolution authorizing me to send that letter.
Looks like it's gonna be 210 acres or so in the
Mhm.
town of Rush. Where is it? It is Hartford Resources is a part of Howlett Farms. So it's off East River Road. I so moved to authorize to approve the authorization of the supervisor to sign the letter to Hartford Resources LLC for the New York State Farmland Protection Implementation Grants Program. Do I have a second?
A second.
Brown,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Councilperson Kais,
Aye.
We need a resolution to advertise for a full-time seasonal highway and park gardener and landscaper.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, is this,
Sure. Full-time seasonal.
this
What
was the conversation we started having the last time.
But we didn't have any information,
Correct.
so. Can they,
D- DJ put it in his budget.
So in the past, it's taken 2 or 3 people at being paid to accomplish this one, I guess, what I've made one job out of through the highway. It's been budgeted in the highway department to have someone to do the mowing, do the watering, do some of the planting that the molds and stuff are not doing. There's other flower beds around town that need to be maintained. Do all the mulching, the pruning, throughout the summer. I budgeted for April 15th to October 15th as a 40-hour-a-week job, which, in the past, we've had somebody that does all the mowing, and then he mows for 2.5 days, and then, that gentleman may go camping or do whatever then the flowers need water, and I'm pulling somebody out of the highway department during the summer while we're trying to do all our road work. I think, and then we've had Carl, Holtz
Mhm.
doing the pruning, the mulching, some of the planting, besides the mower guy. I think, if we total all that together, I think we're probably better off having one full-time person, seasonal full-time person, to maintain all the properties to their best ability, so.
So what is the difference between a seasonal full-time and a full-time with regard to benefits?
There's minimal benefits.
So
As far-
are
I
they,
mean, they call it, basically they're part-time because they're only working for them, few short months.
well, but does it mean that they're eligible for the 90% paid health insurance and the contribution
No,
to the pension?
they are anybody's available for the pension, even any part-time person.
Well, okay, but the contribution by the town?
Yeah, if, any part-time person
Okay,
that works for the town is eligible for the New York State retirement.
so with regard to the health insurance then, they're not. So this is not gonna cost the town more in, versus, we were
Benefits.
gonna pay somebody, we were looking for
I mean, I
somebody.
think there's a
for-
little bit of like vacation time or something like that, if, that individual needs to take a day off and stuff like that. But, according to what the new handbook reads. But, as far as, health insurance and that stuff, no.
Okay, so, cause we were originally gonna vote on something for like $3,000 for someone.
That was just the card.
Yeah, I know,
That was.
But
just
that's
for
what
one
we
guy
were
to plant
looking
flowers.
at.
That was just for one gentleman or one person, I should say.
but
To
that
plant
was what was
flowers.
before us at the last town board meeting.
Yes.
And then this other thing came up, which we were looking into, we're waiting to
Right.
hear, what does it mean? So what is the difference in what we were thinking we were gonna spend? And what we will be?
This,
gonna be
this will
very
free up
close to the
highway
same.
department people.
Going to be very close to the same money,
Okay,
as far as like what I paid the guy to do all the mowing and that stuff. And the guy that got paid to do the planting and stuff, it's going to be virtually the same amount.
So
Okay.
rather than hiring a part-time mower, part-time gardener, part-time, or taking someone off of county work, which is revenue
Right,
based,
right.
we will now have one person doing all of it.
so I just didn't have any details. So I'm
It was.
I'm
in the
not
bu- it
saying
was in
I'm
the budget.
against it, I just need to understand
Right,
Yeah.
what's our obligation under this.
but you voted okay on it for the budget. It was in
Yeah,
there, so,
But I didn't have any of these details, like, well,
right.
I'm reading a full-time person, I'm thinking, wait a minute. What does that obligate
Yeah.
town to do? And, what's the difference financially? These are the
Vir-
questions I
virtually the
think of.
same. Yeah, but I mean, that was all laid out in the budget, so I'm not saying, this is not like, brand new here.
No, I know you had stuff in your budget,
Yeah.
but we were looking at a $3,000 person, and then it turned into something else. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that we're still
No,
overall.
the way I budgeted it was virtually about the same amount of money for a person to be here full time. So,
I will ask, if they're mowing and they're now full-time, will they mow like out back here more than once every other week? Sometimes it seems like.
some weeks,
Gotta-
yes, I mean, it depends on
I'm
the amount of mulch.
joking more than anything, but it just seems like there's a lot of grass out there at times.
There's a lot of work and, that guy tried to do it within 24 hours for a week.
That's what I'm saying. So now that person can actually maybe do a little better job at what they do and,
But so if we can find somebody to do this job, that's the next thing.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's,
True.
we'll see.
Thank you.
Going, we need a resolution.
But you said October,
It says right in the resolution.
April 15th to
April
October
to,
15th.
you want to go April 15th to October 15th?
Yeah,
Or-
I think that's a fair.
Oh, it says September. here.
That's why I was asking
Yeah,
that question.
yeah. I so moved to authorize the town clerk to advertise in the Sentinel and Penny Saver for a full-time seasonal parks and maintenance position from April 15th to October 15th, 2025 for the Highway Department and Town Hall Complex. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilperson Kais,
Yes.
Councilperson Chase,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye.
Councilperson Morelli,
Aye.
Councilperson Brown,
Aye.
Under new business, we need to upgrade our security cameras. Our current system's maxed out and it's old. We had recently had the sheriff's department needed get some information off of our system and we couldn't retrieve it for them. So we need to upgrade our system. I got a quote from Land Tech, $10,000 to upgrade the system, but that's the only quote I've gotten, and I think I can shop around and probably find something a little bit better than that. So that's, and then we need a spill prevention, a petroleum spill prevention control and countermeasure plan for DEC, and I've gotten a quote from MRB. Their quote to put that together is about $10,000. And we're currently looking for a new engineering firm, and I would like to see if we can maybe get a better deal on that too. So those are both kind of on hold for this at this point.
Are we, do we have any kind of deadline for that, the spill
No.
prevention plan? So,
No.
okay.
That's what I was wondering.
They said we need to do it, but there was no deadline.
We have time to,
Relatively new program.
Yeah, it's,
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's kind of a goofy way to look at stuff because spill prevention is, double wall tanks, but they.
Right. Well, that's what I
What they're
kind
trying to charge us, I think is a little excessive to write a report that's pretty.
of thought that, I mean, if every town has to do this, you would think that they probably have a template that they use.
We did
that-
also just approve an RFP for
Well, they
our
look,
engineers, so.
Yeah,
It's up
so,
to us
yeah.
at this point, so.
they look at it, the difference they look at is like potentially where our tanks are. Say a tractor trailer come down the hill, hit the thing, split tanks right open. And the tank, the water, the fuel will run into the creek out back there. So they put a plan together, the what if, well, obviously the what if is
Mhm.
dam it up and you start absorbing it. But they gotta, it's gotta be inked and it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Down highway and.
I would think they'd already have something somewhat designed.
Well, I think
A
that
template.
to Luther's point, I think it's pretty individualized from the way he just described it to every situation, every setup that the tanks have and where they are in relation to waterways and things like that. So I guess there is a little more to it than just reading it, yeah.
But we'll look into it.
okay.
That's all I had. Upcoming meetings, Conservation Board the 13th. Next zoning board meeting is the 20th of March, and planning board will meet on March 25th. Having conducted all town business, make a motion to adjourn.
Then for you. I would like to follow up with a comment about the tax and the I don't wanna say retired people for the taxes. Is that something we can look at next town board meeting, or I thought we kind of put it to rest a little bit at the last one that we talked about it, but.
Don't,
That's
you know,
something to
we're
look
going
at.
to check with our assessor to see what we could do.
I think we have to have a meeting, a public hearing or something before we can pass it, and we can't do that. We couldn't notice it and get it done before March 1st.
No, I just wanted to be retroactive. I would still be ready for next year.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Our current code.
Yeah.
So
So maybe our assessor can get all the details that we need to evaluate it and
She,
get it passed.
Hearing. Kevin Fletcher, so we talked about, I did the research, 41 families. See it, how many the county has and how many that they did it. You can actually see how many people have done it. And then that's in fact, how much.
okay. All right. I'll talk to her.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Oh,
RFP, last month for the engineering. firm.
yes,
Is that, RFP available for public?
yes, should be.
Okay, so I can just ask him for it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
up at the
it's-
county.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
That's how let's get out of it.